This is the start of the first day of the 51st paddling of the Hansa Powerade Dusi Canoe Marathon. Now this year, a record number of entrants, 2,010 paddlers are going to be thrashing it out in some extreme temperatures in this, the toughest canoe race in the Southern Hemisphere.
Well, let's start by having a look at 2 years ago. The last time there was a doubles Dusi canoe race, the year 2000. Big group start at Camps Drift.
It's not that hot, fairly comfortable day on day one. Coming up to Ernie Pierce Weir with the first major obstacle in the race. Very tricky. The problem here is that it's right at the start, 500 meters after the start, and you've got people queuing up and sometimes 2 or 3 boats going over the time.
Well, plenty of portaging in day one.
Day one's the big portaging day, lots of running. This is where the runners really come through, and it really is a day for the runners. The paddlers have just got to hang in and hold on. We're looking at Ann Stott and Kelby Murray just making a break, and Martin and I just trying to hold on. There I go, I've just fallen down. Martin's pushing me a little bit too hard, and I'm battling to stay with the pace.
Well, back into the river now, 3 crews together. Bit of a traffic jam down there.
Yeah, always difficult. This is the put-in just after hole in the wall. 3 boats trying to get away together, and a bit of a problem. Martin and I were fortunately there first, and we managed to get away.
Well, there they go, Mark Perro and Martin Drab. This is the lead in the 2000 race, still very early days on day one.
Metchen Rapid, quite a tricky rapid, and we're very happy to negotiate that successfully.
Well, there you see the finish, the end of day one, and a powerful finish there by Perro and Dreyer.
Oh, we were quite surprised to be in the lead after day one. I thought we would be in the middle of the pack somewhere, maybe in the first 3, and then have to make our break on day 2 or day 3, but we were very fortunate to end up in the front after day 1.
Well, day 2, and that's the aerial shot. Well, the canoes, a lot of them getting repaired, and away they go on the second leg.
This is the portage going around the first Dusi bridge, Dusi Weir. 2 options, you could either paddle right up to the weir, jump out and do the quick portage, or cut the corner. This year we weren't allowed to do that.
Well, here's the first tragedy of the 2000 Dusi. That's Antje Manfroni with a broken ankle.
This was very unfortunate. They were the race leaders at the time. She broke her ankle. The ladies who were coming second made the break, and that was the end of Antje and Jeanette's race. Very disappointing for them in 2000.
Well, the leaders got away at that stage. Manfroni hung on, of course, very bravely towards the end.
This is a very tricky section of the river, just below the confluence of the Umgeni and the Dusi rivers. Martin and I going through Willem Chute, just cutting on the inside of Ibis Point Rapid, one of the options you can take. The other option is the portage on the right-hand bank or the left. We try to paddle as much as we could and then just quickly jump out and negotiate this tricky section. We actually scored quite a bit of time doing that. The chasing boats taking a slightly different line, and I think losing a bit of time. Day 2 finishes with a long flat paddle on the Nanda Dam, about 45 minutes, usually in searing heat. This year again, very lucky with the weather, not too hot, and no headwind to contend with.
So Dreyer and Perro moving through to take stage 2 in the year 2000.
Day 3, the big rapids on day 3, just below Nanda Dam. This is the day where the big water paddlers really do come through. The running sections are over, and it's some really big, exciting water around the back of Burma Road. Antje Manfroni and Jeanette Walder really battling. Jeanette carrying the K2 all on her own. Antje struggling up the fence, being helped by one of her seconds. Very difficult on that broken ankle. Second and third trying to hunt Martin and I down. Martin and I comfortable lead up over 10 minutes and coming underneath Outer Ring Road, about half an hour from the finish, and not really much that could stop us now.
So a very comfortable victory for Dreyer and Perro in 2000. The winning time 7 hours, 56 minutes and 30, the first time a crew had ever gone under 8 hours. And so to the 2002 Hansa Powerade Dusi Canoe Marathon. The day before the race, the media, the paddlers, the officials gather for the annual press briefing. The paddlers looking a little tense, the media quite relaxed. And before the start, we had a word with race publicist Ray de Vries.
It's massive, you know, you've got 2,000 paddlers, you've got a 2-to-1 ratio from paddler to seconder, so you've got 6,000 people involved just in the actual participants. You've got over 1,000 volunteers that actually volunteer here. You've got cops, you've got divers, you've got lifesavers, you've got media involved, you've got all the sponsors and their entourage. So there's about 10,000 people that have to go through that valley And you do it for a day, and you have to repeat it a second day and a third day. So yeah, it's a massive thing to organise. And I think that people don't quite understand how much goes into it. You know, with the committee, those guys go thousands and thousands of hours to actually make this race happen.
Well, let's have a look at the map of what day one's got in store for the paddlers and runners. This is the day that really belongs to the runners. Starting off in Maritzburg on Camps Drift, you're going through the town, going underneath lots of road bridges and weirs, very tricky, lots of areas where you can break the boat. But really 20 kilometers of hard running, lots of portages, and about 20 kilometers of paddling. The start of A batch, 60 paddlers in this batch, 20 boats in the first row, 20 boats in the second row, 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's already searing heat, well above 30 degrees.
Well, before the start, we had a chat with some of the pre-race favourites.
Yeah, well, I don't know why they're calling us favourites. There's really 4 boats in it, and whichever boat has the better race is going to end up winning. So it's going to be out of ourselves, Dion Bruss, Martin Dreyer, Sean Biggs, Sven Bruss, and Piers Cruikshank and Sean Rubenstein.
Dion, or just from Dion's pedigree, I mean, he's come second in the doubles when I won it with Mark Perro 2 years ago, and he was 4th single last year. Ant and then teamed up, and it's just a matter of who the other combinations are going to be. And Dion and I actually met in March this year. We raced in Nepal in an adventure race for Team South Africa. And from then we've managed to keep the relationship going and done some hard training the last 2 months.
And for you, the last time that you had this pairing, you hurt yourself on the second day. What happened there?
I broke my ankle. I didn't realize it was actually broken until we got to the finish. So I owe Jeanette a good one this time.
How did you manage to break your ankle in a portage?
Freak accident, yeah, portage just slipped and it happened. So anything can happen. So you can't predict it, Dusi.
A beautiful shot of the start from our helicopter. That's the Ernie Pierce weir, just 500 meters after the start. And that's the kind of sight that the paddlers see as they go over that weir. But not so easy to negotiate.
First major obstacle in the race, very difficult. We took a swim there this year. We lost a lot of time. Guys coming through right on top of one another. It's hot, people are jostling for positions, and yeah, very tricky.
The organisers, of course, have placed plenty of rescuers to fish people out the river if necessary. There's one of them standing in his wetsuit.
These man-made obstacles weirs are the most difficult and treacherous sections of the river. There's no natural exit point from the weir, and there's a wave holding that will catch you and hold you and pin you.
The boats are bunched up, and the novices and some of the celebrities in there, that's Ferdinand Rabi from the Big Brother house. Well, he certainly got through, but one suspects that's more thanks to his partner than to his own paddling expertise.
Yeah, Daryl Bartha certainly doing the bulk of the work and powering him through. Some of the guys not that lucky, leaning the wrong way, just getting their nose on the wrong side of the rock. The current is catching on the one wing of the paddle, and over you go. Sometimes the paddle slips in at the wrong angle, and you land yourself up in the water sooner than you think.
In fact, some of these weirs really can be quite dangerous, can't they?
Yes, they can. There's a washing machine wave that when the rivers get really full, that washing machine wave will hold you. If you do fall out, the water circulates back on the top of the surface and will keep pulling you back. So the only way out is to dive down, catch that current, and get washed out.
With the traffic jams behind them, the leaders are on their way, and Stott and then Jenkins, just a boat or two's length ahead of Dreyer and Bruss in second.
Rawlinson and Tehran in third, chasing hard, and it looks like a front bunch of 3 boats has got away. And then there's a chasing group of 4 paddlers led by Sean Rubenstein and Piers Cruikshank. Bruce Wenker, the old man in the race, and Wayne Volek hanging in 5th and 6th place. These are the boats that are going to be contesting the top 10 positions. Wayne Volek paddling with Bruce Wenker, now 42 years of age. Bruce doing exceptionally well, and gold medal looks certain for him. This is the first really long and difficult portage. This is Sewerage Farm. You can't really see how steep this portage is. It's exceptionally steep. Your calves are burning. It's now about 35 degrees and it's only 6:30 in the morning. The guys are really working hard just to hang in and stay in there. But the leaders will run. Most of the back markers will walk this hill, and some will crawl up the top. The seconds are very important here. They'll be sponging you, encouraging you, shouting words of encouragement. They won't be able to stay with you long. They'll sponge you down, give you something to drink, and then they have to leave you as you go through the fence and go into the proper Campbell's Farm portage. This is the end of the first big portage. The paddlers have the option here. They can put in at the bridge, or they can paddle around the hole-in-the-wall portage. There are 1 or 2 big rapids around the back. If you run this portage really hard, you should be able to run it slightly quicker than you can paddle. A decisive point in the brace. Dreyer and Bruss have made their break from Jenkins and Stott, and this is a crucial point of the race.
We're at the hole-in-the-wall portage. They're about to go through hole-in-the-wall. We've got Bruss and Dreyer have about a 30-second lead on Stott and Jenkins in second place. So they've been very close the whole way through the race. Sorry, the heat is coming up now. Stott and Jenkins looking all right. We don't have a third boat in place yet, so these 2 boats are the support.
Further back in the field, the paddlers are forced to queue and go as fast as the boat in front of them. It is tricky and difficult to really improve your position. You just have to go as fast as the slowest boat. Stu Rawlinson really looking good and going well on the run. And Stott and Len Jenkins just coming down from hole in the wall, putting in, and they've lost ground on Martin and Dion, and they've got to paddle quickly to Guinea Fowl portage before they lose any more time.
We're 1 hour and 37 minutes into the race now. Ali, we haven't seen the canoeists since Hole in the Wall. What have they been going through since then?
Okay, when we saw them go into Hole in the Wall, that was the beginning of Hole in the Wall portage. They would have done a 2K portage and back down into the river, and then about 20 minutes on the river, and then they're on the Guinea Fowl portage. A Guinea Fowl portage is 2 parts. It's Guinea Fowl 1 and Guinea Fowl 2. Guinea Fowl 1 has a very long, gradual climb down into a steep section called Devil's Cauldron, and then a very short, sharp one up to second Guinea Fowl, and then a long one down to the river. Now, they will be back on the river now, and they should be coming here, through here. Maze Rapid is upriver there. You can see at that pinnacle, and they should be here in about 15 minutes.
Well, the leaders now well on their way. Dreyer and Bruss really have built up a commanding lead. Tactically superb, running very strongly. This is one of the nice paddling areas of day 1.
Coming up to Mission Rapid, one of the trickier rapids in the race. The 2 long portages are over, so Martin and Dion have built up their gap. They've maintained their gap. Now they've just got to try and hold off the paddling machines.
Plenty of spectators along the way. The media circus goes along. The people come from far and wide to seek out these positions along the side of the river and watch the men go by.
Dion Bruss and Martin Dreyer really combining well. The 2 have put in a lot of homework together, and they really are flowing. The combination is looking good and smooth, and the boat just seems to be gliding with a minimum of effort. Going nicely. I think they've paced themselves exceptionally well, and there's still plenty of petrol left in the tank.
But of course it's not so smooth sailing for many, many paddlers in the back of the field, and they really do have their work cut out getting through these rapids.
Cabbage Tree Takeout. Why are there so many portages on this race?
Melanie, what's happened here is there's a big bend in the river here, so this is an optional takeout. And if you want to win this race, you have to go over this portage. And I would say you have to be able to run it if the race is tight. So that's why they're taking out here to cut a big bend out of the river.
Okay, now the leaders at this stage have a very big lead. What is going on there?
What is going on is when we were back at Mission Bridge, I said to you on Guinea Fowl, that was where the race could actually swing. And what's happened is that Briss and Dreyer obviously felt that they could run Guinea Fowl well. They put their foot down there, they've pushed it, and they've dropped Stott and Jenkins by about 4 minutes. Now, it's significant that Stott and Jenkins haven't caught them, because Stott and Jenkins are theoretically the better paddlers. Right? So they should have picked up on the river. But this is very, very significant for the race, because there's a substantial break here. And if they run this hill very, very well, and they really put their stamp on it, then it's going to be very, very difficult for anybody to win this race or take it away from them unless something really drastic happens to their boat.
The last portage of the race, Cabbage Tree, another exceptionally tough uphill, followed by a fast downhill section of running. Dreyer and Bruss actually missed their juice, and they dehydrated going into the finish, which allowed Jenkins and Stott to close the gap on the leaders.
A 20-minute paddle from Cabbage Tree down to the finish at Dusi Bridge, and Dreyer and Bruss were making absolutely no mistakes, the winners of leg number 1.
We actually weren't expecting to be this far in front. It was a hell of a hot out there. After the halfway mark at Guinea Fowl, we actually had to slow down a bit just to conserve so that we wouldn't blow. Because I was cramping a little bit and I was just worried that it was going to affect me on Cabbage Tree, but fortunately we managed to hang in. We did it all right.
When did you make the break away from the people in second?
We managed to get a little bit ahead on Camel's Portage, going to Camel's Checkpoint. We just stretched it on the downhill and trying to actually get out of sight of the guys. Then they don't actually know how hard you're going. So when we got to Guinea Fowl, we just pushed it a bit, but they couldn't pace off us if they should pick it up. So I think that's where we managed to get our lead.
And second at this stage, Ant Stott and Len Jenkins.
How did they manage to get away from you?
They were just stronger than us on the runs, and most of the running's over with now, so tomorrow should be quite exciting.
Okay, how do you see your chances for tomorrow? Do you think you're going to catch them up quite radically tomorrow?
Yeah, well, we are known as being stronger paddlers, but not taking anything away from their paddling. They're both extremely strong paddlers, and Dion's driving over the section will also be really good. So it's not going to be too easy. We're going to have to work quite hard, but it's going to be exciting. I think we're going to close them down a bit.
And the first development crew across the line at the end of day 1, Reino Armdorf and Moses Africa.
Okay, now, first development team in. How are you feeling right now?
We're actually strong at the moment now. We're going to try to get them to increase some more places tomorrow on the second day and the last day. So we can make up a few places in the 2 days.
A really good effort from Alice Rawlinson and Abby Medema. They must have run exceptionally well to keep the second place girls at bay. They've got a lead of over 6 minutes. Alice based in Johannesburg and Abby in Cape Town. They've really had to make a big effort to get together and put the training in and work out their combination.
And what strategy have you got for tomorrow?
Go as hard as you can, hopefully make no mistakes, and be strong across the dam.
Quite a surprise to see Angie Manfroni and Jeanette Walder back in second place, but the heat really took its toll today, with Manfroni suffering from heat exhaustion and really battling to finish.
Okay, now I'm looking a bit heat stroked at the moment. What's going to be your strategy for tomorrow?
Drink as much as I can also beforehand. I can't afford another heat stroke. And we're going to start there next time, so we're just going to paddle hard, try and catch up. I'm quite confident about our paddling. It's been going really well in the last couple of rides. And anyways, once you gain your senses again, it's actually quite enjoyable.
So after day 1, Dreyer and Bruss 3 minutes clear of Stott and Jenkins, Wilson and Collier in third. Medema and Rawlinson 6 minutes ahead of Walder and Manfroni.
Well, day 2 of the Hansa Powerade Dusi Canoe Marathon has arrived, probably a little too soon for some of the people who were out there on the river yesterday. But when they stick their head out from the tents down there, they'll notice it's a little bit overcast, which is possibly a blessing in disguise, considering it was around about 42 degrees yesterday, and that's not taking the humidity into account. Now, pole position today being taken by Dreyer and Bruce in the men's division, and Medema and Rawlins from the ladies. But the favourites, I'm sure, are going to be trying to make up a lot of time, especially for Ant Stott and Len Jenkins. Paddling is definitely their strong point, and I'm sure they're going to be pushing as hard as they can.
Day 2 belongs to the paddler. There's only 2 portages, Saddles and Ungameni Hill, followed by some big rapids, Tombi, Gumtree, Hippo, and then the long 45-minute paddle on the dam right at the end when you're really tired.
Start of day 2, Dusi Bridge, bright and early in the morning. As we heard, a little bit cooler today. A lot of the canoes having been repaired overnight. There they are lying in the sun, and the crew's ready and raring to go.
Dreyer and Bruss will be working hard in the early stages of flat water paddling on this race. They know Jenkins and Stott will be taking every possible chance they can to close the gap. Dreyer and Bruss getting into a nice established rhythm early on in the race. They'll be trying to conserve, making sure that those others can't quite close the gap before they do get to the dam. They will be worried about Stott and Jenkins, and they'll be running hard on the Saddles Portage. The Saddles Portage closes up. It's not quite as easy as we can see now. As they go over the hill, they're running through thick bush on a very, very narrow path. Very difficult to run very quickly. This is the confluence of the Dusi and the Umgeni rivers. They'll be picking up a lot more water from the Umgeni. There'll be a water release from Nagel Dam, which will lift the level of the rivers. The rapids all of a sudden become much bigger, and they've got a lot more power. You make a mistake once you've joined the Umgeni, and you can really do a lot of damage on your boat. River not that full at this particular point, and the guys have to be very careful picking their way through, trying to find the fastest line, following the water, looking for the current, and trying to stay with the water all the time. Arbisweer, Dreyer and Bruss are the race leaders. They need to take the conservative option. It is slower to always portage around these obstacles, but it is safe. You will not break your boat, and it is the conservative option. Dreyer and Bruss need to put the pressure on the boats chasing behind. They won't make a mistake. They will lose time. They'll probably lose about a minute portaging around this weir. It is an exceptionally difficult weir to shoot, and anything is possible. Usually the boats either break at the cockpits or they bend their rudder. If you bend your rudder, you've got to climb out later and straighten it. They'll be looking over their shoulder, looking for Stott and Jenkins. What are Stott and Jenkins going to do? Stott and Jenkins going for the very bold option. They're shooting it exceptionally well. They're a very difficult weir to shoot, and they've got it 100%. Their boat's in one piece. Their rudder is undamaged, and they would have made a minute on Dreyer and Bruss. They can now see Dreyer and Bruss. They've got them in their sights. Now we've got a race on our hands.
There go the leaders, and that's the gap between boat 1 and boat 2. Visual line between them. The guys at the back will be able to see the leaders, and we really have got a big dice on day 2.
Ananda Dam in the heart of the Valley of 1,000 Hills. This dam comes at the end of a long paddle. There's still 45 minutes of flat water paddling at the end of day 2. Very tough on the non-paddlers, very tough on the runners, and you need to conserve some energy for the flat, hard water paddle at the end.
What has actually happened is they would have climbed the Umgeni Hill, and it's obvious that they haven't taken any time out of each other coming over the Umgeni Hill, either the leaders or the second boat. Right? They've got on the river. There's a big section of river there. You've got Gumtree Rapid, Tomby Rapid, Hippo Rocks, Mfula Store, below Mfula Store. You've got Mr. Marriott's, and then you've got Island Rapid. Now, they've obviously, and Stott and Len Jenkins have paddled conservatively. They haven't taken any really big chances. So that I think it's been a fairly conservative racing morning, but now you can see it's all happening. All right? And Stott and Len Jenkins have got Dreyer and Bruss in sight, and they've got a slightly faster stroke rate at the moment, so they're going to try and hunt them down on the dam. We still got the split there, guys. It's about a 130 split, Mark. 130. You feeling all right? Yep. Looking good there, guys. Okay.
Bruss and Dreyer coming up to the end of stage 2. This is where we expected Stott and Jenkins to close down the gap. It didn't happen, and at the end of day 2, the leaders were still the leaders.
You're looking a lot happier today. What is prompting this happy face?
that we're in the lead on Anton Lenz Day. We thought that with the flat water on the dam, they would actually be able to close the gap. They did close it to about a halfway point, but they took some risks, and we were quite conservative. It was about 1:20 when we last heard about halfway at Ngumeni Portage. And then what I've heard is they had a swim at Hippo, rapid, and that just allowed us to maintain our distance. And then on the dam, we just found a fantastic rhythm and managed to keep the gap and actually extend it another minute.
Okay, yeah, we were standing there at the Ngumeni Portage, and we were sitting and looking at you guys and watching them coming up behind. How were you feeling at that stage?
A little bit nervous. I didn't want them to catch us that soon, because then they could get away from us in the river if they did catch us. So, I was hoping if they're going to catch us, it would be on the dam, so we could paddle together across the dam.
Starton Jenkins coming in second place.
You were doing very well in Ngumeni Gorge on the mountain there. What happened?
We closed the gap down, and we were right behind the guys, and as we went over Ngumeni's, we went to a rapid called Hippo and fell out. And all the hard work that we had done sort of cancelled out by our swim, and we were back at the beginning with 3 minutes sort of on them.
Okay, now you were looking pretty strong on the dam itself. You were actually catching for a while, and then you seemed to have a problem with your paddles at some stage. What was going on there?
No, we didn't really have any problems. We had used up so much energy in the beginning to try and catch them, and then after our swim to try and catch up again. By the time we got to the dam, there was just pretty much nothing left in us. We kept going for a while, but after about 1/3 of the way through the dam, we were pretty much dead.
As expected, the strong running combination of Grant Wilson and Brandon Collier, who had a blinder on day one, have been caught by the big water paddlers, Sean Biggs and Sven Bruss, winners of the 2001 Umkomaas Canoe Marathon. But for me, the surprise of the race, Kevin White and Jabu Leslie. Kevin's won the race 3 times. These 3 crews are all together battling it out for 3rd, 4th and 5th. Right now we're seeing a very crucial part of the ladies' race. Antje Manfroni and Jeanette Walder really working hard to shut down the lead on Alice Rawlinson and Abby Medema. They've worked hard on the dam, and they've put their heads down, and they've finally caught them 10 minutes from the finish.
How did it go today?
No, it went much better than yesterday. We had a good race, we didn't make any mistakes, no swims, and yeah, just tried to paddle as hard as we could.
And you caught up a lot of time?
Yeah, we caught 6 minutes. Yeah.
That's some fairly fine paddling. Does this mean, Antje, that you're feeling a lot better than you did yesterday?
Yeah, visibly so, I think.
How did you get yourself back into shape for today?
I just kind of went home, had lots of water, slept until this morning.
How did it go today?
Went well. We paddled as hard as we could, and I think yesterday we just had an exceptional day, maybe a little bit tired today, and they just came through. They paddled exceptionally well, obviously made no mistakes, and caught up to us on the dam a little bit. Tomorrow's another day.
Okay, now with the heat of yesterday, did you feel that it took a lot of energy out of you, and being overcast today, was that a bit of a bonus?
Yeah, yesterday in the heat it was terrible. We just lost everything, but much better today with the overcast. And much better.
Rader and Bruss still a couple of minutes ahead of Starton Jenkins, Biggs and Bruss in 3rd place. Walder and Manfroni up there with Medema and Rawlinson the same time. A wonderful aerial view of the Valley of 1,000 Hills, the Ananda Dam. 25-minute paddle for the leaders before they get to the dam wall, and then it's around the side and into the Umgani River. Plenty of water and lots of action on the 3rd day. Nice sunny day. Of course, overnight there's plenty of action back in the campsite.
Yeah, you get to see all sorts of things doing this particular job, especially in this campsite at night. I mean, there's a fairly demolished canoe right here, which seems they've tried to put it together with duct tape. Whose is this? Yours?
Yeah, it's mine.
What did you do to it?
We're going down in Tombi, and apparently, John?
Apparently.
Apparently we're going down backwards there.
But it's just because you're so fat, though.
Yeah, no, well, you're well endowed. It was leaning to the left, so we fell in there.
There we go.
Yeah, we wrapped around the rock, yeah.
But we tried our hardest, and we actually managed to take it about 5 Ks after this, but 20-minute paddle actually took us about 3.5 hours. So it actually wasn't worthwhile in the end.
Yeah, we got to the bridge, and we thought it actually wasn't worth swimming to the end there.
Just wait.
We went backwards down Tombi, and That was all I remember. And cracked my head open and cracked my ear open, and I'm sore.
Okay, so you're still going to be paddling tomorrow or not?
Yeah, no, so far I'm still paddling. Just see how I feel in the morning. But they came in, stapled my head together and carried on. So I can still carry on tomorrow.
We didn't like paddling double so much, we tried to make 2 singles. Didn't work out so well, eh?
How are you managing to paddle tomorrow?
I'm not paddling.
Can you change the question? Very powerful, eh?
I'll get back
I want something more simple, eh?
Find a friend.
Jerry Mansfield, where are you? That light is actually irritating me.
This I was just modeling, doing a thing like this, washing. Then he wanted to do soap off, and he just dives in and he plucked it off. I was shaking like that. 17 stitches.
And paddle today.
And paddle today.
5 hours.
Look here, come on.
All
sorted out.
No, we had to have fun. I mean, we ain't going to win this race, but we're trying to beat a few other people. Let's just try and stay in the boat tomorrow, and then we'll be happy.
The bet was that these oaks said to me, they saw Lee there, the bet was that I couldn't dance there. And I waited for a slow song and we shuffled. And then the oaks still haven't paid me the beers. And I gave her a peck.
You took it. Is that what shuffled means? You danced?
Shuffle. I'm old-fashioned. I shuffled. I'm an old-fashioned chap, eh? We shuffled. And then, you know what happened today? I see you and I walked past and they said I was playing hard to get. Of course I'm playing hard to get. You don't just bloody get easy there. Yeah, I watched her every night. Now she must watch me on TV.
Did you ever watch it?
I give her one of those big brother looks.
Watch it dances,
Day 3 of the Dusi this Saturday morning. And one would expect that the leaders at least would have had a good night's sleep. Everybody bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for the race ahead.
And a lapse time start for the leaders on day 3. Day 3 belonging to the big water paddlers again. The guys have got a choice. Are they going to paddle around Burma Road? That is very difficult. There are big rapids. It is slightly slow. Or do they take the conservative route and run over the top of Burma Road? Martin Dreyer and Dion Bruss will be working really hard across the dam. They know they've got a faster boat coming in from behind. Stott and Jenkins are exceptionally quick on flat water, and they'll be trying to shut down that gap that Dreyer and Bruss have got. Dreyer and Bruss coming to the end of their 25-minute paddle across the dam. They've done exceptionally well. They've held off the challenge of Stott and Jenkins. A quick, fast portage now, and they'll put in above Top's Needle. A very tricky rapid, again a chance of breaking their boat. Dreyer and Bruss working hard on the uphills. They've got a very fast downhill portage. Stott and Jenkins have worked hard. They've closed the gaps marginally, but not enough. They're going to have to close and work and take bigger risks on day 3 to close the gap.
The two of them still 2 minutes behind, and it's looking more and more bleak for this pair.
Stott and Jenkins, South Africa's top K2 combination on the moment. They are devastating on flat water, exceptionally good. Both of them can read big water really well, and they'll be looking to really shut down that gap that Dreyer and Bruss have got over them.
Well, the big decision facing both these crews now is whether to paddle or go over Burma Road, the big portage, and that's no doubt going through their minds at this stage.
I would imagine that Stott and Jenkins are going to do exactly the opposite to what Bruss and Dreyer decide to do. Dreyer and Bruss going to the dragging option. Martin Dreyer, an exceptionally quick runner. He's got the front of the boat and he'll be dragging as fast as he can. There is a slight risk that they'll be sanding away the fiberglass on the bottom of their boat. Again, they've gone for the big daring option. They're putting in at the top of Top's Needle. A big, tricky rapid. A lot of boats will get broken in this rapid, and I'm surprised to see them going for this option. Now they've got to quickly climb into their boats, settle down, get their spray decks on before they go down Top's Needle. A crucial point in the women's race. Manfroni and Waldo will be trying to get away from Rawlinson and Madiba. Rawlinson and Madiba should be the quicker runners on this downhill. They should get to the rapid just in front of the other two, and then it's going to be a big race into the finish. I think both boats will go around Burma Road. Glenn and Ant also dragging their boat into the bottom just above Top's Needle. In my mind, I think they've made a tactical error. They've pedalled across the dam without any juice, and now they're wasting valuable seconds getting their power rate from their seconds. Again, it looks like a little bit of panic in the stock camp.
Quite a sharp contrast between the two crews. Breyer and Druss, cool, calm and collected. Stott and Jenkins really under pressure here, and you can see it. Certainly one of the most scenic parts of the country. That's Top Needle, a really spectacular rock formation which gives the rapid its name down in the river far, far below.
Dion Bruss, a top wild water paddler. He's very good in this big water. Martin Dreyer will be backing him up 100% of the way, and they glide through this rapid without much of a problem at all. Stott and Jenkins again chasing hard under pressure. They have to close down that gap soon, or else the race is going to slip away from them. And Stott again, an exceptional driver. No problem in this rapid for these two top crews. The back markers will be taking a lot of strain going through these rapids. They've spent a lot of time in the valley. Both crews know exactly where to go. They've probably tripped the section 20 or 30 times prior to the race, and they're not making any mistakes. Ansha Manfroni and Jeanette Walder taking the more conservative option, only shooting half of the rapid. They are the race leaders, they aren't under any pressure, they've just got to paddle safe and make sure they don't make any mistakes. The strong East German in the back doing a lot of the power paddling in that combination. Alice Rawlinson and Abby Medema chasing hard. They've got to try and stick with the leaders and try and hope that they can hold on to their wave on the paddle into Durban.
Fantastic. Broke here 2 years ago. We're out to wreak revenge now. Just watch it, we're going to move rocks. It's called intimidation.
Oh, jeez, it's been excellent. I've been paddling for 35 k's with a piece of wood. That's day one. Day two, we broke our boat. It's pretty awesome. It's an adventure.
Are you smiling about this?
Oh, it's lekker. It's lekker. We need some challenge.
Well, so if you want a challenge, why don't you go and shoot the rapids?
Well, let's do it.
We've got the biggest of respect for my father, who's done 27 Dusis, and it's a privilege to paddle with him, and we're enjoying ourselves very much.
The horniest guys from Inyoni.
Well, I'm 55 years old, and my son said I can walk.
So
and I'll always listen to my son.
He says you're controlling the pace.
No, he's bullshitting, sorry. He's talking nonsense.
I'm enjoying it. I hope to do best this time, second, third round.
For our parents to notice us, find us, and all the bloody numbers.
Because I've got a broken rib and two cracked.
And you're still doing this?
Our poor partner's got two cracked ribs and one broken, but we're going to finish.
Do you know that he's mad?
He's very the Murin.
But it's not easy taking your grandfather down the river either.
We'll see you later.
The big portage on day 3, the big decision. Do you go over the portage at Burma Road or take that long sweep around the river?
What the map doesn't show is the gradient of that climb up Burma Road. It is a murderous climb. It's very, very steep, very difficult to walk, let alone run. The top crews, Martin Dreyer will be pushing Dion, and he'll be pushing him hard over the top. It's going to take the top crews approximately 30 minutes from the takeout to the put-in. The guys paddling around, if they don't make any mistakes, will probably do 31, 32 minutes. Dreyer and Bruss have made the right option. Stott and Jenkins, they're under pressure. They've got to do opposite to whatever Martin and Dion do. They won't run at the same pace that Martin and Dion will go over the top at. They have to go around. They have to do something different and hope for the best. Big rapids going around, big risks, but Ant is a superb driver, and shooting through Little John shouldn't be a problem. Martin and Dion making the most of the flatter stretches of Burma Road. Pushing up, they'll be going into the bushes now, and then they'll start the climb. The two boats won't know how each of the other two boats are doing. They'll be on their own, trying their different options. No seconding allowed for Martin and Dion. They'll only be allowed to be seconded right at the top when they crest, and then the seconds have to leave them again. Ant and Len pushing hard around the back. They also won't be seconded. They're in the water. They've got some big rapids to negotiate. Jeanette driving exceptionally well, and she's backed up all the way by Ansha Manfroni, paddler from Wits, a former world champion, providing a lot of power in the back of that boat. Alice Rawlinson and Abby Medema chasing really hard. The Rawlinson family got 3 people in this race, all doing exceptionally well in their own categories. Alice lying second in the ladies, Stuart lying 5th overall, and Dave the dad, he's paddling with Graham Pope Ellis, leading the Submasters. Alice Rawlinson, who is leading the race on day 1, she must be the youngest woman paddler to ever lead the Dusi Canoe Marathon. Very impressive performance.
From the Burma Road put into the finish, roughly an hour for the top paddlers, coming down towards Durban, round the outer ring road, and then the finish at the Blue Lagoon. Lovely atmosphere, nice and hot in Durban. 20,000 people crammed into the finish, a great atmosphere. And of course, further back in the field, plenty of celebrities. A number of rugby players, Gary Teichmann, John Allen amongst them. Also Nick Bester and Bruce Fordyce of Comrades Marathon fame. But also, first time this year, 2 guys from the Big Brother house.
Hello, who's got the most paddling experience between the 2 of you at this stage?
Well, mentally, Ferdy's probably got an enormous amount of paddling experience. Huh?
No, I've done paddling for 3 years. Like I said, Fuiki's Chris Bekers had done the Burger River over 20 times now. He taught us when we were lighties, but that was our way to get out of boarding school, you know, to go and row and smoke at Chesterfields on our way back to boarding school. So, but we were good paddlers, like Sean Sermon and guys like those in the old days, and yeah, Michael Sermon. So yeah, that 3 years, but it was 10 years ago. But went on the other day with Phyllis in the river, and it went well.
Well, I've seconded for the last 3 years in a row. Surely that's good enough. I mean, how difficult can it be? I am really looking forward to doing it. I have seconded for quite a few years in a row, and this is my first year. But I've only been in a canoe about 3 or 4 times, so it should be interesting. I've done a lot of paddle skiing, so hopefully that'll come in handy.
Now let me just show you why I think we're gonna kick Stevens out. This is Daryl, this is my partner here. All the chicks there. Let's just check this dude's stomach out there, but he'll be in the front so they can check him out.
Well, how about your stomach? You haven't taken all the hair off again?
Listen, baby, men without hair ain't men, okay? This is testosterone. No, it's just like, I'm actually having a good time with the people outside, so I'm not hunting any woman down, and we're just having all fun, huh? Lekker, clean, good, pure fun.
If any stones are going to be thrown, just make sure they throw them at Ferdy.
But also remember, I'm a bleeder, I'm not a fighter.
A magnificent effort from Dion Bruss and Martin Dreyer. Dion's first victory, Martin's 3rd victory in 4 years. A fantastic effort, and they'll be over the moon. Martin and Dion have shattered our old record of 7:56. They've cut over 10 minutes off that record. A fantastic performance and very well done to the two of them. Let's hear what Dion has to say.
Yo, that was great. Quite a tough day. We knew Anton Len had the pedigree to catch us. But yeah, luckily it was at level where you had to decide to go round or over. And well, we just, I think, took the right decision, made them paddle hard, and well, they're not here yet, so it's great.
And the decision to actually go over Burma, the right one, obviously.
Yeah, it was a tough one. Along the way, we were like tempting going around, but then we decided, no, we've got a plan, stick to the plan, and it obviously paid off.
Well done, guys, very good. And Martin, how did your race go? Talk us through the 3 days, bud.
Oh, first day was hard, the heat. I mean, everyone took strain. We actually got a little bit dehydrated, but managed to hold on to our lead. It was 3 minutes. Day 2 was, luckily we had a lead. Anton Len loved that second day at the dam. They're great flatwater paddlers, the best in the country. We fortunately also managed to keep them off on the dam, and then because they chased so hard and they had an unfortunate swim, they just couldn't catch us on the dam, and we managed to hold on to our lead. And today we went out really hard. Compared to yesterday, we went out easy. Just not wanting them to actually get us in sight on the river so they could pace themselves off us. Then we decided to do the Burma portage, which I think for us was a great option. It just allowed us to know that we knew the route really well, we had run it before, and going around there are risks, and you would have to shoot Island 1 and 2, which we didn't want to actually throw the race away. You could actually not even finish the race if you break your boat. Then coming in the end here from the pump house, it's just pure adrenaline. We probably got out too hard, but then that just pushed us through. We found a great rhythm again, and well done to Dion for the great run over Burma. We beat Mark Perez's time.
South Africa's 2 premier canoeists, Ann Stott and Len Jenkins, didn't quite get it right this year. They've come in second, over 6 minutes behind. They've pushed Martin and Dion hard the whole way. They've taken their chances. They've gone for the big options. Fantastic effort, but not this year. This year it didn't belong to them.
Going out to Radifus once again, who'll talk to this pair on the finish line and for his impression.
Well, basically we had to try and do the same thing as yesterday. We had to go out as hard as we could from the start and just try and close that gap. And we were closing it down slightly, and then Martin and Dion went over Burma, and we knew if we wanted a chance to try and win the race, we'd have to do the opposite instead of just coming in second. So we took a lot of risks today. We went around, we shot all the major rapids, and yeah, we paid the price of taking risks. We spun out at Island 2 and swam at Pump House Weir. So not a great day, but yeah, Dion and Martin raced a flawless race, and they deserve everything. They made no mistakes, and they were just brilliant.
Len, after 3 days of powering it through, your dream of coming first, not quite made it, but a very, very powerful second. You guys took the risks, and it didn't pay off today. The future?
We don't know where the future lies, but we had a good race. Martin and Dion had a better race, and they were the guys that deserved it.
Leading women, that's Walder and Manfroni, and the third place men, Russ and Biggs. And that's a lovely picture that is, the two of them virtually finishing together. And I suspect that Russ and Biggs may just sneak past towards the finish. Maybe they'll let the ladies first. We'll see quite how gentlemanly they are. It's, you see the power there, but this is an amazing gap between the first two. And the leading women, Walder and Manfroni. And look how happy they are. For day 1, 6 minutes back.
Wonderful. I can't even describe it. It's my first win. I'm absolutely so happy. I can't say anything.
That's fantastic. Yesterday you guys were dead level as you came into the second day. Today, what was the strategy as you left out? Did it go according to plan?
Yes, everything went. We didn't have any mistakes, so yeah, we had a great one. Yeah, we just tried to get ahead, and that was it.
And you got the right partner here with Antje Manfroni, obviously.
No, definitely, yeah, no, we seem to paddle well together.
We had a wonderful race. Jeanette's driving was excellent. The sailing down was very, very nice.
And just take us back over the 3 days. The first day you guys were a tad behind, about 4.5, 5 minutes, if I remember correctly.
Actually 6 minutes, and we actually caught up quite nicely. I was feeling much better yesterday and today, and we had a real stormer today. It was wonderful.
That's fantastic. Well done. Well done.
Another phenomenal performance from Alice Rawlinson and Abby Medema, finishing second in the ladies. What a fantastic race they've had.
Oh, it was good. We made no mistakes. It was a clear run, but they were stronger than us again today. But it was a good day. I enjoyed myself.
That's great. And the water, what was that like for today?
It was not. It was a good level. It was quite high, which made lots of waves and fun to shoot all the big water.
Great. Abby, over to you. You guys on the first day surprised everybody by cruising in there first, but I think it was about 6 minutes, was it?
Yeah, I think we surprised ourselves. We just trained. We've had about just over 3 weeks together, linked up after 50 miler and just ran with the boat so much, and I think it paid off on the first day, but their paddling skills overtook us on the second day and third.